Check, check. Jeez, that's a loud AC. I'm just gonna get my dev set up here. Just kind of, getting things set up. It's just how it is. All right, get some tunes on as well. Yeah, it's just, it's just a big ordeal. All right, so let's go to my stream manager. My usual tunes up. Nice, got that. And let's see, I think we can go into, there's like a moderator mode. Content, no. Community, no. Insights, no. Moderation, no. Hello, one viewer. Oh, Wolfgang, how's it going, man? You'll be happy to know there was a lot of good progress with the Smash game this week, so I think it should be pretty fun. Here, let me pop my camera stuff open there. Yeah, let's see. Well, I guess I probably gotta like boot it up and actually do stuff. All right, so let's do that, and let's do that, and a bit of that, some other stuff, and cool. All right, so you see we got a nice like. Mostly worked out menu. I can't remember if I actually got to the point of this menu during the live stream or if that was after last week. But I've also designed it to be a bit of a mesh network, with sort of the intention being that hosting a game isn't really that you're the host, but it's like you just want to start a game and then you can like join in. So for instance, you get this like code here, which this is what I believe is only going to work on localhost. But yes, if I do that, I could take this join code and jump in here. So if over here we said like, I don't know, initial client, and my music is too loud, so I gotta deal with that before I get too much further here. Ah, that's better. I hate when your music, when you're trying to talk it loud, it's just like right at the right volume where it's just like you can't actually think at the same time. Yeah. All right, so you got these two. They're connected. Put an initial client. They both sync up here. And then if we did like, we'll call this like bottom Chrome. I don't know. Well, that can be arrows too. Sure. So we can switch. Everything's nicely in sync. So this guy was the initial connection. This guy's got a different join code though. So if we duplicate this and grab that join code, I guess we'll go over on this side. So the nature of the mesh network is that as soon as I connect here, it actually says, hey, by the way, here's another client up here. And they all kind of interconnect with each other. We'll set all these up Oh, that's weird though that it didn't distribute all the players down. So that's fun. I'm sure it will once the game starts though. So we'll see. But that's one bug we got to deal with. Cool. So I'm ready there, ready there, ready there. Okay, so it just hadn't had a chance to get those updates, so I'll have to ensure that when you connect that it also merges in the players that it knows about. And right now I just have it like an asynchronous game, so essentially over here I could start playing and then start playing on these other ones separately. So like for instance, everyone spawns in, but then like some people respawn in. Anyway, so initial client is this guy. I brought back in animations too, so now you can swipe. Now the attack is like, it's kind of weird because the animation takes like a second or so. So I need to like, ooh, that's interesting. Got the old lockup going on. What's going on here? So I shouldn't be maxing out my RAM at this point, but just for fun, I'm going to just throw an H-top over on my other screen just to figure out if we're like hitting some sort of memory limit, which we shouldn't be. I've got quite a bit of but I've been running into this issue a little bit where it's like there's almost like a like some sort of like memory buffer issue. And I'm not sure if it's like a Chrome garbage collection thing or if it is something else. So we'll see. So if we reload that. And with just 2, I've had like a lot of success. When I've had like more than 2, I've had less success. Let's do top and bottom. Totally doesn't matter. As long as it's like enough characters for a human being to read, I guess. Up here we'll add, and we'll go with Steam Man. All right, let's see. So we got the game running now in both spots. CPUs are looking fine. Memory is I got like 15 gigs free. Well, no, I got like 10 gigs free. And then last time we kind of noticed it with like after a couple attacks. So, oh yeah, then I have a bit of a bug with with respawning, but that's fixable too. So basically what happens is there's like a death state that just like keeps triggering when you're falling down before respawn actually happens. So okay, I think we're at a point. We know that 2 players is fine. 3 players, it might just be that died 542 times. So that's like again like the number of probably like 60 millisecond increments of a player being off the screen there. But yeah, so I think the 3-player limit that I'm seeing is just a side effect of like streaming and running. I've got like Firefox over on the left side where I have my like normal browsing stuff, then Chrome over here. So it's a bit of a thing going on. Yeah. And what else do we have here? Yeah, I guess that's yeah, that's probably it. That's okay because we only really need like mostly two windows for testing. In fact, most times we can just stick with one. Okay, so the first thing I think we should tackle is respawning. So right now there's like a state to know that you should be respawned, but there's not like a death state. So I think we're going to add some sort of flag. I was also able to minimize. I mean, it's probably not obvious just by like looking at the code here, but this state used to be like much bigger, so I was able to trim it down, specifically around networking. So my initial attempt for the networking was like having one peer as the host and everyone connects in. I'm kind of treating that peer like a server, which seemed like the right move for a game, but at the same time, that's not really the purpose of like WebRTC sockets. You could certainly use them that way, but I was running into all sorts of like I guess like performance issues with that, and I was not finding the same case with like a mesh network. I think that just has something to do with like the size of the packets. Like right now, all you have to do is like send like your current like inputs to all the other players, and like occasionally also send out like your location of like where you are in the map. Saying a lot, but I just got in from getting groceries, and so I'm just dealing with like cooling off, so I think my brain's just a little overloaded, but you know, give me a couple minutes and I'm sure I'll be okay. Alright, so if we want to add a death state to players, so we'll find where players get initialized, which is right here. So right now we have like ready and active. I think so I haven't used active yet, but I think this is really just dead, and I think that defaults to true, with the intention being that like you can submit your player in, but as like being a dead player, we just don't want to see the player anywhere. I think that's what we want. So we'll say that, and when you start the game, I think we need to trigger all the players that are owned locally, as noted by these local IDs. I think so right now we've got like active true, so that should be dead false. We'll just, you know, trigger that all of our players are alive, and then we're good to go. And we're going to go down to physics stuff. Oh, by the way, I'm going to split up this this big action file. I think I can just kind of like have an actions folder with an index that just kind of forwards all of the exports. So I do have like groups where I have like chunks of networking code, one big like render physics code chunk thing. Yeah. Cool. So with IDs to kill, what do we got here? Oh yeah, so this is my local check, so I just checked to see if I have like a local set of controls mapped to that player ID, which is probably the right thing, but at the same time feels a bit hacky, so I don't know, we might revisit that. But anyway, so basically IDs to kill is like if you're lower than the canvas, which probably isn't quite true. I think you need to be lower than the lowest geometry, which I guess we could do. That seems like it should be pretty easy. And you need to be going max speed, and the player needs to be local. With the intent being that like once you're at max speed, there's probably no going back from that. So let's say we'll call this like lowest point, which seems pretty good. So we're gonna go. I think we have game.geometry. Yeah, it looks like we do. And we're just gonna say reduce. And we can default the lowest to 0 because 0 is actually like the very top of the canvas, so it's kind of upside down from like a typical OpenGL thing. So say lowest y here, and then geometry. And we'll probably like, I don't know, add an extra 50 or something to the lowest point too, just to like really be sure there's no way the player can like come back at all. So we'll do a math.max, and so we're gonna max out like a couple things here. So we know we can use the current lowest y value, and we could also use geometry.y, and we probably also want geometry.y plus geometry.height. And that's just because maybe there'll be situations where I'll want to have like negative height objects, which seems like really backwards to me right now, but it's very possible in the future I'll be like, oh yeah, negative height, that solves, you know, whatever silly problem. Cool. So we got the lowest point, but this is actually the lowest y value, maybe. Which is funny because we're doing a max, but you know, that's how it is. Cool. So I think this this part here becomes lowest y value. So that gives us a little bit there as well. And then we want to, on player respawn, set dead to false. And then in our rendering, probably an index, we'll see. Yeah, so we got the players, and I think we can just do a filter. And we'll just say not p dead. So just don't render dead players for now. That's probably fine. We'll see if it's not. I can't think of a reason why that would be more trouble than it's worth, but oh, here I am. Sorry, just, you know, doing the old moderation thing here. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do a local game here, and we're just gonna say why not? That'll be arrows. I should also have like a null controller option, because like there's a lot of times where I just like put in a bunch of like dummies just so I can try like hitting groups and juggling and whatever. But yeah. Alright, so we're gonna go with woodcutter, and then we'll also have all bees, and we'll use WASD just so there's no duplicates. And I'll be a grave robber, why not? Alright, so that's fun. So what's going on here is apparently when we start the game, it is not reviving them. Okay. Interesting. Okay, let's do a console log start game. And we'll just like dump all the players in there for now. Also, we might have a naming conflict, so let's say like for now memo. Just to be sure that we don't have some sort of conflict. And we're just going to do a local game, and for now, looks like we can reproduce this with just one player, so we'll give that a shot. So cannot read property, blah 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 is undefined on 319. So that's this. So it seems to think that the oh, I see. So it was trying to reference this variable, which obviously would have not been great. Alright, so on the start game, we have dead false for this player. Did I just like, you know, let's get rid of that filter. Maybe I just don't know how to write code, so, you know, and plus I did a couple things at once, which is probably not the smartest move. Okay, so let's look back at this. So keep anything where p.dead is false, which seems like the right thing to me. Interesting. let's save that. We'll just run it one more time, just in case, like, maybe there's like some weird caching or something silly. Nope. So on start game, dead is certainly false. And we only, oh, well, I mean, declarativus isn't getting the current state. It's getting an old state. So let's do a next state is going to be current state with players, and view is going to be game. Because then it uses this, I think, to trigger like physics in the next redraw potentially. So that could be the issue. Alright, so let's see. Put some junk in there. Some junk in that trunk, am I right? Alright, still no dice with that. What? That was quite unexpected. So, definitely dead false. We're saying we're keeping the ones where player.dead is false. Okay, well, let's remove that temporarily. And over and above our player, we'll just do like a text, and we're just going to say dead, and then I think we can just do like a props.dead.toString, and that should give us like a true false. And this will be, I think, just x 0 y, probably like a 10, and I think we actually want like stroke text. And then we can do like stroke style, and we'll say black. All right, so let's give this one more shot. All right, so big old undefined. So that's also interesting. Let's see, so after we do a start game, message all the connections and let them know my current player state. So that seems fine. And we've got like the declarativus, so our render. That's quite strange. And if we were to look at our like rendering index here, so we just like slam in the player data. Well, you know, let's do the old debug. Sometimes I like to use a description on this, but I know it's only going to be used in one spot, so we'll say console log. This will be player and we'll just put a debugger in there, just like, I don't know, be painfully obvious about what we're doing. And then say we want to debug that. Alright, so we got player. We definitely have a from player data, we get dead. So that should be like directly off props. Alright, so let's maybe debug that whole structure. Maybe for some reason, like, worst case, we might just like clear the cache on the build. It could be just something goofy going on there. so in general, the props are being passed in. We definitely do have a props.dead. Even from start game, we've got dead in there as well. Now I could do something like if not v.dead. I'm curious if maybe like a secondary action is being pushed through that like unsets. Oh, you know what? Maybe. Let's do a. Let's go back over here to our actions. We'll go to that one render. Yeah, maybe we're just like overriding dead in general. Oh, that's just updating all players, so yeah, this should definitely be IDs to kill, includes, and in that case, that just becomes true or false. Yay, okay. So, I mean, it's weird that it was undefined. It certainly seems to me like it would have been a Boolean, but let's see, I didn't get rid of that text code, so maybe maybe it'll be fine. Let's see. So big old undefined. So that's fun. What would be up with that? Oh, you know what? I think I think it's because the way I implemented all of the canvas operations is that they don't really on their own know about children, so this should actually be a text. Then you'd have to like make a custom component to render text differently. Let's also do a C line width value 1. Now, before I do anything else too, I'll do context 2D. One thing a buddy of mine mentioned was that the rendering was like kind of fuzzy and inconsistent, and there are some things that we can do to fix that, like image smoothing, determines whether scaled images are. Okay, so that's image smoothing, so that's not quite what I'm after. I'm after more like a line smoothing or anti-aliasing. Let's do a JavaScript canvas anti-alias. Cannot be turned on or off. It is controlled by the browser. Okay, well, solves that problem. Which is too bad. I mean, like, you get so much control at this level, so that's like strange. But anyway, let's go back here, and now we should actually see like a proper text representation of dead false. I bet if I turned it to a text fill, that might actually look less bad. One thing I don't like about text on the canvas is like it's not actually obvious what like a stroke text versus a fill text would be in terms of like what's gonna like look stranger. Yeah, and I was kind of after the pixelated look, which I mean honestly it doesn't look too bad right now, but a buddy of mine was sort of complaining about it the other day, so I wasn't sure if it was like maybe a Chrome versus Firefox thing, which I guess would be you know, this is an easy thing to test as well. If my browser would cooperate with me. Let's just drag this over here. There we go. And we'll just minimize this guy for now. So go to the game, type in some junk. this guy. Yeah, I mean, like, this looks, both of them looked pretty smooth to me, so maybe he's just got some, like, weird settings. Or maybe I've, like, somehow configured anti-aliasing, which is possible. Like, I've tinkered with those things in the past. If we did, like, a bit of config. Yeah, sure. Hopefully there's nothing too weird on there, but if we looked at, like, canvas or something like that. Some like image caching. Nothing that actually looks like it would involve like anti-aliasing. Oh, there's like, what is this? Oh, so for font rendering, there's like some sort of aliasing there, and then there's anti-tracking, and then WebGL anti-alias, but that's like that's a different thing. Oh well, it's not a big deal. Alright, so you know, problem solved, I guess. So there's like a handful of like fun things we could do at this point. Like I feel like we could do more stuff now. So I think maybe the first thing is making sure now that like def state is probably good. Like, oh no, all sorts of died still. Okay, well, we'll fix that and then we'll move on. Probably the next thing is going to be like splitting up these actions just so they're a little less tedious to navigate. And then, yeah, then maybe we'll like do lives or something like that. Alright, so let's see what we got here. So we flag IDs to kill. Okay, so we haven't added and not paid dead. Simple enough. All right, so we'll just suicide this guy, and hopefully he only gets flagged as dying once. Not at all. And in fact, that seems a lot worse now. Very interesting. Very interesting. Also, hello, Kurchik95. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the stream. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, I'm gonna just nuke the cache and stuff. Sometimes it's just that. Oh, and Mr. Kurchik, thank you for following me on Twitter as well. Alright, so I believe if I refresh this, one thing I find about Firefox specifically is it has like maybe like more aggressive caching policies on it. So sometimes when I do a rebuild, it doesn't care. So we'll see. All right, so still all sorts of stuff that is wrong. So let's see. So we mark as dead if we include in that list, but we only want to include if you're currently not dead. But like this loop shouldn't be like a particularly like tight loop. Like it should be, yeah, like it's pulling the updated stuff through, and only like does the respawn effect if you're including that ID. Oh, I guess you're dead if you're already in there. All right, so I think we've got like maybe an inverse here, which seems weird now that I think about it. But I'm gonna just give it a shot because sometimes it be like that. Okay, so not the problem. Yeah, because if your ID is to kill, then you should be dead. Alright, and I'm gonna go back to Chrome just to like have like a singular testing thing as well. So just to be sure that's you know, maybe not some sort of like weird Firefox bug. We'll just give this a quick real quick test. All right, well that's a different problem still. One thing too is we can skip simulating players that are dead. So we could just say if player.dead, and just we just return the player at that point. It probably saves on a couple cycles. Well, no, that's not true because we're not filtering, but Okay, so that's still all sorts of weird. So IG's to kill is, so if we are below the lowest object and we're going at full speed and we're not dead yet and we have controls, so we are a local player. So that's all the truthful criteria of dying. And then we reduce over there and then just say like, oh, by the way, if we're killing this ID this cycle, then set them to dead. Otherwise, oh, you know what? I think this is like, if that's the case, it's true, and otherwise it should be whatever p.dead previously was. That's how they get you. All right, so refresh that just in case. I got a good feeling. I'm willing to take non-monetary wagers. Come on, big money, no whammies. Oh boy! Oh well, it kills him a second time though, dropping. So that's interesting. So if we're on the kill list, add a +1. So if we're on the kill list, and we could probably just say, and we weren't just dead. So, and p dot, jeez. Okay. So if we previously weren't dead, and we're on the list to be killed, then cool, add 1 death, otherwise keep the remaining deaths. Oh, yeah, so I have a cap at like 20 pixels per tick, but it's probably not necessary. But I was thinking if I implemented like a double jump, then like keep your player alive until like you've hit like the point of no return, I guess. I don't know if that's actually going to be something that I even care about later, so we'll see. Alright, so there's our died 1 time and still died 2 times. So let's see, do we have something else in here that's adding deaths? So we gotta reset deaths. Oh, and then respawn is doing it as well. Okay, so that actually simplifies this. We don't care about that at all. Alright, so now if we jump off, cool. So that definitely seems to work the way I expect it to. Or at least better. I mean, should probably set death state right away. So maybe this isn't. Yeah, that's okay. Comment that out. I'm not sure. I mean, this could be the right thing. I'm not convinced. Cool. So we'll do that. That's like an immediate feedback, which is maybe good. Okay, but I mean, to your point, I think we could at least until there's a reason to. I think we can get rid of the max velocity check. This is just like extra logic that's like maybe in the future I'll use it, but I'm not using it now. So there we go. Meow, meow. And jump off there. Cool. Now also there's like some hitbox issues for sure. So the sprite sheet that I got, like the characters aren't actually centered, which is great because attacking like looks like you kind of like lurch forward a little bit, but you obviously don't. But I mean, that's another thing, is we could like, this might be a little painful, but like a frame by frame figure out where like the positions are that you should be colliding. So that could be a thing. We'll see. Okay, so we definitely have death state working. So let's do a let's say fix respawn and death state. Yeah, it's not too bad. We're certainly getting there. I was really fortunate to define this asset pack too, because it has like pretty smooth animations, so like nothing looks like too jerky or forced. And I think if I didn't have this game would like totally look like shit. Oh, nice. Are you gonna do some live streams as well? And while I'm doing this, I think I want to refactor. Okay. Well, you let me know when you start doing that, and make sure, even if it's just like in Slack or whatever, just DM me links, because I'm not like too great at checking like social media, but I'll make sure I take a gander once you get things up. Yeah, I get that. I've actually only recently got this camera. And it was mostly because my wife thought she would need it for some stuff. And it turns out that it's not exactly what she expected, but it, you know, it works perfectly for me. So, because otherwise I don't have like, I'm on my desktop, so I don't have any sort of like built-in camera. So I get that. I guess I don't need HTOP running anymore. That was a backup plan there. All right, so let's see what sort of things we can pull over. Yeah, I get that. Like, I mean, I'm saying that, but I can't actually think of what my current camera view looks like. Oh yeah, you can see my pup behind me. That's Rufus, by the way. Let's see if I can. Yeah, he's a nice little pup. I've also got a big golden lab mix, which he also loves that couch, but they don't like sharing it. So it's like if one's up here, the other one's like, he doesn't even care, you know. Yeah, doggos. Alright, I'm gonna set that. Alright, so let's see. The first thing we can do is I think some Sprite sheet actions. So I think I have like a small handful of these. Oh, well, that's convenient that there's only two. And I could even do an export const initial, well, maybe just like state, and just like isolate the states here, which in this case it's just Sprite sheets. That's not too bad. And now we could do something like, let's see, just trying to think what the right way to do this is. So I could do import star as Sprite sheet from. So obviously we'll, you know, not do this regularly, but one thing at a time. So do that, and then I'll just find them here and trim them down to just like export that equals Sprite sheet dot Sprite sheet load. Sprite sheet ready. Cool. So if I save that and run the server again, presumably nothing bad has happened yet, and hopefully nothing will, but oh shit. Okay, so I have one thing referencing actions.js somewhere. Nope. Maybe we'll just try another rmrf cache dist and yarn strip. It could be that there's like some cache piece of the bundle that didn't actually remap it to .js. Yep. Cool, and as long as animations work, it means that Sprite sheets still work, and then we're good. So that's the first good sign, but this is the better one. Nice. Yeah, I just love the woodcutter chop. It's I don't know, just something very smooth about it. The other ones, like, they're good. They're quite good, but like they don't quite feel as good. So alright, so I'm gonna refresh that and call that one a success. Oh yeah, it did very much. So actually I can go through that like pretty quickly. So I'm not really using AABB very much yet. I thought I would, but then just the way that the sprites are, I ended up kind of like hacking something together. So I was like really close. I just had like some math in the wrong spots, which is, you know, typically how it goes. So I do like fixed time step. So like based on the delta, it'll like add that delta to an accumulator, and then like only work in like increments of time step, and then like integrate whatever in the world. And the world is you know, pretty basic, which it just has like a general like accumulator. You get a reference to like the time in game in case there's like pauses, which I don't think is ever going to be the case. And then the meat is all mostly in yeah, I know, right? But the dynamic code is where most of the meat is. So we kind of have I separated out these three methods. So reset is just like pick a random geometry in the map and like spawn your character over it. So dynamic is actually like not the right thing. I thought this would be more like generic dynamic bodies, but as it turns out, like the only dynamic thing in these like this game so far anyway is characters. So at some point this might get abstracted more, but then like apply inputs gets like done at the beginning of like frame processing, and then in terms of stepping. So I had some like weird stuff here as like a combination of like speed and like how I was doing the time step with gravity. So that did some weird stuff, and then I think I also had something going on with like how I was maybe managing speed. Oh yeah, so here's where I have like 20 as like just a hard coded like don't do any more than 20 pixels per tick. So the tick is like it's 60 frames per second, so 20 would be pretty fast if it did like per second 60 increments of 20. Like that would put you off the screen like in one frame. So anyway, I just like clamped it. Like I think typically the character's going like a max of like maybe 6 or 7. Then yeah, just some like basic like things that we're tracking to know whether or not like we're on the ground or jumping. And what else do we do here? Oh yeah, so I got like some friction applied to like X, but then if you're like close enough to 0, I just zeroed it out, just so there's not like a constant stuff. Yeah, performance-wise, like I'm still hitting pretty close to 60 FPS. I don't think it'll be like super accurate if I were to like put up a counter on this, just because doing any sort of screen recording or streaming always like knocks down your performance. But yeah, like so far it hasn't been too bad. But I've also like anywhere that I can, I don't do immutable stuff. Like, you know, like if it's like a method, I'll like if I have to do a bunch of mutations, you know, just declare the variable once and up top as a let, and then, you know, tinker it. And that's actually where most of the performance hit is, because garbage collection is a like it blocks JavaScript. So if you've got a bunch of stuff like, you know, 60 frames per second, and you've got like 4 or 5 variables at some point, whenever you hit like whatever condition for the garbage collection to run, you know, it gets there and goes, oh, now we got all this garbage, and like just stops JavaScript. So when I was using FERP originally, I was getting into things where the garbage collection would like be like every now and then it would just show up and just like completely like drop your frames to like 20 for like a couple frames, and then back up to 60. And that was kind of annoying, and obviously that doesn't work very well in multiplayer. But HyperApp like seems to be as optimized as it can be for garbage collection, so that works out really well. Yeah, and I don't know, like I could probably locally like add in like a number of players. Yeah, if it got to that, I think I would, but so far it's not too bad. But I mean, just for the sake of argument here, let's this will be a little slow, but let's do this game. Yeah, we'll do this many just because it's slow to add. We'll get all these ready, you know, and then we'll just set like my main character to the grave robber or something. Right now there isn't really a max, but right now just like running around, I'm not getting any stutter or anything like unexpected. Now that may or may not be true for multiplayer though, just because there's some extra stuff in there. Ultimately what I want to do is have like probably like a 32 player limit and have like bigger levels that you can pick from. So I'm gonna do like probably at my work a tech talk of some sort, and like at the very end like demo this. Originally I was gonna do something on like, oh man, peer to peer is awesome, but like as it turns out, the tech for that is like not great. I don't know. I haven't been like super happy with like developing peer to peer. It's not always bad. Firefox isn't great though, and what else? Doing like local dev where you're like servers on localhost and you're hitting localhost is just like pretty hit and miss. I find Chrome is consistently okay at it. Firefox, depending on the state of like your browser, which like I don't even mean like the state of the tab, but like some sort of like internal state deep in Firefox. Like the first time you boot up Firefox and you do like some local web RTC stuff, it works fine. And if you refresh your page or like do anything that it finds unexpected, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, WebRTC is a no-go, and it's really weird. Well, let's see if we can collect all these guys all at once. Oh yeah. Oh, got a straggler. Oh, I thought he was just gonna fall. Anyway, that's that. So actually, like probably later in the stream, if you want, I have this up on Netlify, and I would love to try it as like a cross North America thing and see like, I don't know what sort of latency or like other issues we run into. So that could be fun. Spawn right now is like random, but it finds where like all of the different geometries are and just like randomly picks one of them and puts you like semi close to the middle of that. But obviously, I think when I start like doing actual level design for this, it'll be a little more spread out. I wouldn't even mind looking at like the sort of code I'd need for moving platforms as well. But we'll see. Alright, well, that's all I'll say. Performance is pretty good with Immutable. When I have like however many players this is, including me, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Unless I can't count, which is possible, but that seems right. Anyway, yeah, the big thing is like I would need to at least do some sort of calculation to know. Well, that's interesting. Sometimes my jump doesn't seem to work. But yeah, we need to be like randomly positioned, but with some like known like you know, yeah, X and Y things to make sure everything's reachable. Yeah. Anyway, there's that, and then I need to figure out like how to like properly texture these as well, which I've got some ideas. Certainly, so where I got these assets is a place called CraftPix, and I just like no. They've got a lot of like interesting things here that you know, a lot of them for free. Like the ones I'm using right now are free. Not a sponsor either. Ooh, but 40% off. But like, you know, you certainly even just like looking at this, like there's I think some good opportunities where you know, this is certainly within the realm of possibility, I guess. Then I just have to have some like smart code to kind of understand which of these can be jumped through and stuff. Like right now, you can jump through anything. Like there's nothing preventing a player from like jumping up through this wall, and maybe that's not necessarily a thing that you want. I don't know. I mean, Smash Brothers, I guess you can just jump through platforms to be on top of them. So maybe that's fine. Anyway, yeah, that's all to say. There's some like neat options for this and that. Like these things might sort of dictate what level design looks like. Yeah. But there's certainly a lot of neat things in here. And they're like not crazy in price, and I believe these guys are even like open to doing custom work, so if you I don't know, want to add more stuff, like I wouldn't mind getting some more characters. Let's see, yeah, like even this is pretty great. Ooh, some death liquid could be fun too. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. So, sorry, I was in the middle of right, yeah. I think you saw most of the good stuff at this point about like what's going on with physics. So nothing too crazy there. But yeah, I'm gonna keep splitting out my actions just because this file is getting quite bulky. I'll do character selection next. Also, I'm not sure that I'm like 100% in love with how I do character selection. Like, I almost feel like you should pick your character as part of like the put in your name and whatever. I probably even want to do like some sort of random default name, so you know that makes it at least a little easier for me. So we'll see about that. I mean, I could also add some like just dev shortcuts to tossing in a bunch of random players. Yeah, that's a possibility as well. Alright, so it looks like yeah, character selection could be the next big one. So let's do character selection.js. And we'll grab these three. And these don't care too much about the things. Gamepad could just live in here. I don't know. That's. I mean, it's. I think the only thing that cares about the gamepad is that particular action. But maybe just extracting it is fine. And even here, it's like. So state.value is character select. Well, that seems wrong. That should probably be view. Is character select, and don't have a key by. Okay, yeah, this is actually part of character select, so I'm going to go with that. Which means that state is going to be. Oh yeah, so we don't need that anymore. And we're going to grab. I guess the three of these. Do I care about controls in here? I don't see anything that specifically references controls. Alright, so we're just going to do gamepads and character selection. Is the two. And then we can just pull random color over here. And it looks like we also need effects. Alright, so this should be something to the effect of import star as character selection from character selection. this one. So put this back in here too. Alright, let's see. Oh, yeah, it helped if I knew how to spell import. Not a big deal, though. Alright, so, if we go back in here, presumably I can still input stuff and pick some stuff. All looks good to me. So, let's see what our next thing is here. Also, do I care about keybinds? Sort of, and these are like fixed, so this could get shuffled off into here. I mean, maybe not. I mean, it could be moved later too. Alright, so we got character selection add player. You know, it's like kind of character selection, but also kind of not. Let's see, what do we do here? Well, this uses player change, which to me seems like player code. So this might just become like player add, which I think would be more readable anyway. Okay, so I'm going to save that for now. And we're going to do player.js. State. So state-wise, my guess is that this is going to be players and maybe controls. Maybe. Oops. Let's not do that. Let's go over here instead. Let's see what's going on here. So we don't have a peer. Well, I mean, if we don't have any connections, that's not going to run anything. So I think we can safely ditch that. I mean, I say that, and I don't know, that's going to be testing a couple things now. But, you know, that's part of life. I see a player active in there, and that seems like a thing that we don't care about. Start character select seems like a thing that shouldn't exist, but we'll get there. Right, looks like we care about some physics things here as well. Definitely animations, I think, but you know, I say that and I don't remember off the top of my head. All right, cool. All right, so let's. We don't need this here at all anymore, presumably. We're going to do player.state in here, and we're also going to import start as player from player. And I guess we'll do these one at a time again. I might have an okay time if I just null them all out. And then I'll just copy them over all at once. Player change character, it seems. Alright, so it's going to be the nice way to do this. I think we can do something like this and do a %s null, and this will be like player dot player something. Oh, what was that message it gave me there? Trailing characters. Oh well, that's not that big of a deal. So let's do player dot, but done way better. Cool, and then start character select. I guess that is just part of the loading stuff. So this, I also feel like this should be character selection start, and then it kind of makes sense that it would be grouped in with those. So I'm gonna just move that up here for now and just do like you know what? Do it while I'm thinking about it, otherwise I'll just totally not. Okay, and let's save that. Now I'll just find everywhere that's being used and then we'll rename it. Character selection start. Oh, well, that's oh. That should be good. If we refresh this, we still get there that way. Oops. And we still get there that way. Ah, jeez. Also, I'm going to close that for now, so it's not a distraction. Cool. Alright, so let's see where our next chunk is. So we've got like start game. That could be part of character selection. I think like that'd be potentially reasonable. I mean, this could just be like its own thing. And I think like game start, just so again it's like namespace the way I think it should be. And you know what? While we're in renaming mode, let's do this one too. Before I get too far ahead of myself. So this is just going to be player add now. Close that, and again, just make sure most of this stuff does what I expect it to. guess I could just like set controls to be empty and not required. That'd probably be good enough, but well, that still works. Still got that dead debug up there too, so we'll have to do something about that at some point. Okay, so start game, I'm gonna like leave where it is for now because I don't know what to do about that otherwise. Also, it kind of looks like okay, this file does care about controls. Alright, I'll accept that then. So we can get rid of these two. And we've got a game state and a eventually game start. So those things look like they could be tied together. And there's a bunch of these network ones too. Oh, we've got some more player ones. What's going on there? So that's removing a player. Player input change. Yeah, all that looks player get punched. Get punched, yo. Okay, so I'm gonna move these for now up here. And then we'll copy. Copy those. Let's dump them at the bottom for now. Looks like we've got that omit. It's only being used for that, I believe, but we'll, you know, oops, what did I do here? Oh, I see, somehow that got, oh well. There. We'll bring this right back up in a second, I guess. But, let's copy that, put that up there. It's just like one at a time, delete name, and delete the sign, I guess. Cool. So let's move these guys. It's starting to get a little more manageable. And of course, I'll be able to like mass export those shortly as well. I wonder if you can do an import spread. So like I could like extract state, but then like put everything else in an object. Anyway, let's do game. And I would even debate on doing render in game than doing the canvas stuff elsewhere. Yeah, start game and render, which seems kind of reasonable. Also, my little pup, for the first time ever, I put a bed beside my desk. This is the first time he decided to lay down in it. Well, he goes for the couch. Well, in that case, I'll focus everyone's attention on my beautiful face again. Actually, I think if I just do something like that. Rufus, are you leaving me? Oh no, he just wants attention. I'm not giving him enough. Dogs. Any dog lovers watching, other than Wolfgang, because of course your name would imply you know, there's no way you couldn't like dogs with a name like that, and if you don't like dogs you can blame your parents. Hey, Bruce, do you want to come up and say hi? You can come up and say hi. Yeah, come on. Oh, who's your good boy? Well, I don't know if you can see him too well from here. No, he got scared. He got scared. Hey, you, come here. Come here. Oh, Yeah, say hi to everyone. Come here. I know. You just need attention. Do I get a hug? Do I get a hug? He's a little shy. Dogs. Stay in trouble? The mom DJ? Yeah? Let's try one more time. He's getting nervous. When he gets nervous, he likes to do this thing where he's like watching ahead, and then he'll quickly be like, it's like the quick look back. Well. What I really want from him as a dog is I want to have him be able to sit on my lap and just like hang out over my shoulder, be like a parrot or something. Which is like a weird thing to want from a dog, I guess, but I think he would do it. He just like he needs the right motivation, which may or may not just be food. Yeah. All right. That's enough being distracted by dogs. Right, I was gonna extract out game next. What happened here? I'm gonna just some spacing. Oh, from it. I see. All right, so let's open up game and we'll do export const state. And it looks like for game, the only state we need is that. And as a result, we're going to need access to physics. And for the time being, this demo level, I do want to get something eventually where, yeah, Wolfgang, like you were saying, either something random or a way to like just like reference some level on the internet, and when people connect, it just like distributes which level is going to be used. So I don't know, we'll see about that. Let's save, there we go, save that. Looks like we're not using emit now, so we can clear that out. Then we're going to do import star as game from game, and we're going to nuke this and just do game state. And then start game. Okay, so it looks like we're going to need effects. And it wants like access to this render action, so I could put render in here and just like simplify things, which I think is probably like the right approach. So I'm going to save that for now. And this will be game.start game, and of course we'll rename that to game start. Yeah, so the thing about like render is it kind of depends on the state of this canvas. But like the canvas itself is like not really part of the game. Which then makes me think that render shouldn't really be included. But that's fine because I can do a something like render action. Right, then this just becomes cool. And then if we found start game, because I want to do this anyway. So we've got here, so let's change that to game start. Then we're going to say render action is going to be actions.render. Here, it can be game start. and this. So we've got game start now. That's disconnected from render. Before I keep going, because I'm not too sure about all the side effects of that, let's just double check that everything works. Well, that's interesting. So what did I change that would have affected that? We've got game state, we still got canvas in here. Well, maybe what we'll do is, oh, you know what? It's because it's not running. I got myself all worried for nothing. But we'll still do a remove any of the cache directory and the build. And maybe when I'm done this, that might be like it for me for today. At least for a stream, but I will maybe, as a test, maybe we'll quickly implement lives, like implement lives the shitty way, and then I'll push this up to Netlify, and we can try like an online game with anyone that's watching and that's interested in playing around with this. Give me anyone who's listening, if they want to try this game out with me live. Say I. Give me some sort of signal that interests you, and then I will make it happen, Captain. Oh, I see what's going on here. Here we go. So render could probably be its own thing. Oh yeah, and let's of course make sure everything still works. Nice. I can start the game. That works. It can still, do everything. Nice. Let's see. So we'll pull out the network stuff, and then we'll add like, well, I guess the life count doesn't really matter. We can just like play until we're bored with messing around with it, I guess. Alright, so let's do network.js. No, we're not using that anymore, so that's cool. Let's do export state. And that state is going to be this. Just make sure we don't have any like blatant errors. Looks like we need peer. Nice. Alright, so that, let's do a network state, do the old import star as network network. Yeah, let's finish up these actions, give it a push, and then I'll see if I can dump a Netlify link up here. I can't remember if I enabled setting links as like a valid thing that people are allowed to do. I mean, I should be allowed to do them because I'm the streamer, but we'll see. code. The rest stuff for now I'm just gonna leave in here. So I don't know what I really want to do with it yet. So all right, so let's do maybe I'll actually make it do one network game, just to be sure nothing bad happened. You never know. Alright, so let's duplicate and okay, cool. So we'll do a host and should probably not list these connections either. I think that was just for debugging. Oh. Alright. Let's go ahead and refresh one more time. Put some random junk in there. Add the player. No connections yet, which makes sense. And we'll join in there. Put some garbage in there. Yeah, so a little bit of synchronization code there that needs to be fixed, but I can just ticket that. Mark both these players as ready. Oh, I don't think I ever went back and fixed the player dead filter, which that's also an easy fix. But it looks like the network code's fine. Like going down here, I can control that character. Going up here, I can control this one. And then canvas components. This is actually the part index. Alright, we got that debug in there, which I don't think we want anymore anyway. So let's do a filter, P, not P, dead. Jeez, really struggling with that refresh. Let's you just close that. So we'll do a host. Copy that one in. Just put some junk in here. So I'm basically just doing like some extra testing right now because the deploy to Netlify takes like a minute or so, which in itself isn't that bad, but I don't want to have to do like multiple deploys up. There we go. So that didn't render the other character until they're actually here. Cool. All right, so I think that's a success. So I'm going to say this stuff was just like action refactor. Split and refactor actions. Alright. So I'm going to just grab a... you know what, we can... I'll grab a Mozilla tab so we can test with Firefox and, you know, have a real test session. Alright, so we'll open that up and just go to Netlify on my own other private monitor here. Alright, let's see. Multiplayer at 512, that sounds about right. Oh, it's still active. Still going. Alright, well, if I check out... I guess that is out. I just gotta wait like an idiot. Yeah. There must be some other deploys waiting on, which seems strange. But maybe not. Maybe it's just being a little slow. Alright, once that's done, then I can post a link. Just taking its time, you know computers. Yeah, I'm sort of in the same situation. So, sort of the shape of my room and the position of my desk both dictate my lighting situation, and it's not great. I've got a window right beside me, so that's like most of the light. I do have like an adjustable light there behind me that I can like mount on my desk, but my monitors are just slightly too high for it to be comfortable. So, yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna hit this link first and get a game hosted on there. I mean, not that it matters, it's all peer-to-peer. Let's see, let's see if I can just dump this in the chat without anything bad happening. Cool. So there's that. And then the code, which I really hope no one wants to just read that off my screen. I was gonna get rid of this debug thing, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think we should be okay. Alright, we'll give that a couple seconds, and hopefully I should see a connection or two come in. So you just like paste that that kind of random jumble code into the join game input. Whoa, got a connection. Oh shit. Nice. So it's mostly asynchronous, so you can just start and join the game on your own. Whoa. Come here, you. Just kidding, just kidding. So hopefully that doesn't feel too laggy. So the game is like mostly, you know, a little bit of jumpiness, but nothing too bad. And some of it's the way that I'm doing hits, so that might jump around a little bit, but yeah, it gets a little messy once we start interacting with each other, but I do know about that bug and I know how to fix it in general, so whee. Not too bad though. Are you noticing, like, outside of like attacking, like any lag or anything that would look weird or in a sync? Yeah, like I have attack, just because of how long the animation is, like I have it so it like prevents you from like moving through like your flow. I could like have it so you can keep like moving with attack, like that's actually a pretty easy fix. But it ends up like it looks kind of weird. But yeah, I'm with you. I wonder if I could contact the Sprite sheet author and just ask them if they would be willing to provide like running attacks. And that would probably solve like most of the weird feelingness of it, but what's also kind of cool is like there's like almost like a resilience to the multiplayer. So like for instance, if I were to actually, I think if I reset this, I don't have proper peer resets in there yet. But like basically, I could like join in against like you and connect in and like do like a mesh network that way. So as long as like one person's playing the game and they have access to like their join code, then like anyone can just like jump in and play. Which of course isn't like necessarily a feature, but like it's a cool side effect of doing a mesh network. Yeah. Whee. Anyway, that's that. You know, the good stuff. Let's see, how long has this stream been going on for? Just a little under 2 hours. So, I mean, better than last time where I was getting like, I felt pretty drained by the end of this, and I did like a 5-hour stream and lots of like debugging. I kind of like, I understand so much more about, I guess, like how to do a peer network in the browser, which before I was kind of treating it more like a server client relationship, like I would in like C with like TCP sockets and stuff. So I'll let you knock me off. Isn't like the woodcutter, like, I don't know, something about like the chop of the axe just feels real good. Yeah, I get that. One thing I wouldn't mind doing is like, instead of doing your normal attack, maybe running does like some sort of like push, because I do have a push animation, so it could be like if you're running and attacking, then like you kind of like go into like almost like a steamroller mode, where you just like run until like you until you stop. So that could be maybe a good workaround. I'll have to look into that and maybe play around with it a little bit. But then I wouldn't feel bad about like attacking and moving. It's just that it feels weird if yeah. Oh yeah, then it would just knock both of you back, I guess. But yeah, like totally like a Left 4 Dead Charger sort of move, where you just like start running and do attack, and you just, you know, go until you both smash into each other. That could be neat. I like that. Yeah, because I've been thinking about like what's like a good solution, because like I really like the smoothness of all of this, so I didn't want to like sacrifice the smoothness of animation for like hacking together how like running attacks works. So yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna end this stream, and I'm gonna close my browser, and that may or may not do all sorts of weird weird things for your browser. So if it locks up, I'm sorry. Okay, so that's all I got for today's stream. So for anyone that is new that I didn't see on Twitter, like didn't see in conversation, if you like my stuff, I got some like donation things. There's Patreon, there's GitHub sponsor, there's a Stack Overflow for Wolfgang. And then of course, if you don't already, you can follow me on social media. Like there's my Twitter. If you go to the Hype Rap Slack, I'm there. But you can find most of the links, including my Twitter, on my website. And wow, that's it. I should have like a countdown on my end screen, so I just like I gotta like get a good buy-in quick. So otherwise, I don't know what to do. So I'm bailing. Bye. Thanks for